Picture this: a small Japanese company that started by making handmade playing cards in 1889 somehow becomes the home of Mario, Pokémon, and Zelda. A business that once sold rice and ran love hotels eventually creates the video game crash of 1983's savior and builds a gaming empire worth over $60 billion. Most companies don't survive a century. Nintendo didn't just survive, they revolutionized entertainment itself. But how does a playing card manufacturer become one of the most influential gaming companies on Earth? The answer is more surprising than you might think. Nintendo's journey to gaming dominance didn't begin with pixels and power-ups. Founded in Kyoto, Japan by Fusajiro Yamachi, Nintendo Koppai originally produced handmade Hanafuda playing cards. These beautifully crafted cards became so popular that by the 1950s, Nintendo had secured a deal with Disney to print cards featuring beloved characters, making them the first Japanese company to do so. But playing cards alone couldn't sustain eternal growth, and under the leadership of Hiroshi Yamachi, the great-grandson of the founder, Nintendo experimented with everything from instant rice to taxi services. Nothing stuck until one crucial hire changed everything. In 1977, Nintendo brought on a young industrial designer named Shigeru Miyamoto. This decision would prove to be one of the most important in entertainment history. But before Miyamoto could make his mark, Nintendo had already dipped its toes into electronic entertainment with toys and arcade games. Their early arcade efforts were modest at best, struggling to compete with established companies. Then came 1981, and with it Donkey Kong. Miyamoto's first major project introduced the world to a jumping plumber originally called Jumpman, later renamed Mario. Donkey Kong wasn't just successful, it was a phenomenon, earning Nintendo over $100 million in its first year and establishing them as serious players in the arcade space. The real transformation happened in 1983, the year the North American video game industry collapsed. Oversaturation of poor quality games, particularly for the Atari 2600, caused consumer confidence to plummet. The market crashed so severely that revenue dropped from $2 billion in 1983 to just $100 million by 1985. Industry experts declared video games a fad that had run its course. Retailers refused to stock gaming products. It seemed like the end. But Nintendo saw opportunity where others saw ruin. In 1985, Nintendo released the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES, in North America. They didn't call it a video game console, they marketed it as an entertainment system, complete with a robot accessory called ROB, to make it feel like a toy rather than another gaming device. This brilliant marketing strategy helped Nintendo get their foot in the door with skeptical retailers. But marketing alone wouldn't have saved the industry. Nintendo succeeded because they implemented something revolutionary: the Nintendo Seal of Quality. This certification program meant Nintendo controlled which games could be published on their system, ensuring a level of quality that had been completely absent during the crash. Third-party developers had to meet Nintendo's standards, and Nintendo limited how many games each publisher could release per year. This prevented the market flooding that killed Atari. The NES came bundled with Super Mario Bros., a game so perfectly designed that it became the template for platformers for decades to come. By the time the NES finished its run, it had sold over 61 million units worldwide and revitalized an entire industry. Nintendo didn't just enter the gaming market. They rebuilt it from the ground up with their own rules. They had turned a disaster into their greatest opportunity, but they weren't done innovating. The late 1980s and early 1990s saw Nintendo face real competition from Sega, whose aggressive marketing positioned the Sega Genesis as the cooler, more mature alternative to Nintendo's family-friendly image. The console wars had begun, and Nintendo responded with the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in 1990. The SNES showcased technological advancement with Mode 7 graphics that created pseudo-3D effects and delivered some of the most critically acclaimed games ever made, including Super Metroid: The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past and Super Mario World. But Nintendo's true masterstroke came from an unexpected place. In 1996, Nintendo partnered with Game Freak to publish Pokémon Red and Green in Japan for the Game Boy. Nobody could have predicted what happened next. Pokémon became a cultural tsunami, eventually growing into the highest-grossing media franchise of all time, surpassing even Star Wars and Marvel. The franchise has generated over $100 billion in revenue across games, trading cards, merchandise, movies, and television shows. Pokémon didn't just sell Game Boys. It created a global phenomenon that transcended gaming. Children around the world weren't just playing a game, they were collecting, trading, battling, and living in the Pokémon universe. Nintendo had struck gold yet again, As competitors Sony and Microsoft entered the gaming space with the PlayStation and Xbox, offering more powerful hardware and mature gaming experiences, Nintendo took a different path. Rather than competing on raw processing power, they focused on innovation and accessibility. The Nintendo DS, launched in 2004, featured dual screens and touch controls that seemed gimmicky to critics. Those critics were silenced when the DS became one of the best-selling gaming systems ever, moving over 154 million units. Games like Brain Age and Nintendogs attracted audiences who had never considered themselves gamers, expanding the market dramatically. Then came 2006 and the Wii, Nintendo's most audacious gamble yet. While Sony and Microsoft pushed high-definition graphics and complex controllers, Nintendo introduced motion controls with a simple, approachable design. Industry analysts were skeptical. Hardcore gamers mocked it. But Nintendo understood something their competitors missed. There was a massive untapped audience intimidated by traditional gaming. The Wii made gaming physical, social, and accessible to everyone from young children to senior citizens. Families played Wii Sports together. Retirement homes hosted Wii bowling tournaments. The Wii sold over 101 million units and became a cultural phenomenon, proving Nintendo's philosophy that innovation trumps raw power. Nintendo stumbled with the Wii U in 2012, a console whose unclear messaging and lack of third-party support led to disappointing sales of only 13.5 million units. But even this failure taught Nintendo valuable lessons. They listened, adapted, and in 2017 delivered the Nintendo Switch, a hybrid console that works both as a home system and portable device. As of 2024, the Switch has sold over 140 million units, making it one of the best-selling consoles in history. What makes Nintendo's success truly remarkable isn't just the sales figures, it's their lasting cultural impact. Mario is more recognizable to children than Mickey Mouse. The Legend of Zelda series has influenced game design for nearly 4 decades. Characters like Pikachu, Link, and Kirby have become global icons. Nintendo's intellectual properties aren't just games, they're embedded in popular culture across generations and continents. Nintendo's strategy has remained consistent even as the industry evolved: prioritize gameplay over graphics, innovate rather than imitate, and create experiences that bring people together. While competitors chase photorealism and processing power, Nintendo focuses on joy, creativity, and accessibility. They've proven time and again that you don't need cutting-edge hardware to deliver unforgettable experiences. You need great ideas, masterful execution, and a deep understanding of what makes play meaningful. From playing cards to global gaming dominance, Nintendo's 135-year journey demonstrates the power of adaptation, innovation, and staying true to core values. They've survived world wars, economic crashes, industry collapses, and fierce competition by consistently asking not what technology can do, but what will bring smiles to people's faces. That philosophy transformed a small Kyoto card company into one of the most beloved and successful entertainment companies on the planet. Nintendo's story proves that creativity and innovation will always triumph over simply following the crowd. If you enjoyed discovering how this incredible company went from making playing cards to creating gaming legends, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into the stories behind the brands and innovations that shaped our world. Drop a like if you learned something new today, and let me know in the comments which Nintendo game or console holds a special place in your heart. Are you Team Mario, Zelda, or Pokemon? I'll see you in the next video where we uncover another fascinating story of innovation and success!